Now, Forecast First, brought to you by Community Trust Bank.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Spencer Atkins, along with meteorologist Joe Fitzwater. Team coverage here of the continuation of not only this winter system, but a new spring storm system tomorrow. Let's jump in with the first forecast, though, right off the top. Some wet roads still in the area, but the snow has concluded. Luckily, we're not expecting a huge deep freeze. There could be a few areas of fog and a few spots with that road temperature down around 32 degrees. But again, the good news is things are getting a chance to dry out right now as we speak. So we'll look for our temperatures starting the day tomorrow at about 35 in the lowlands. More on the forecast coming up. 13 News at 7 starts right now.
Working for you. This is 13 News at 7.
And we thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Patrick Simon.
And I'm Lily Bradley. As Spencer just said, we've seen a lot of heavy wet snow today, which could have played roles in several accidents along the roads. An accident this afternoon caused a vehicle to roll over at the I-64 and I-77 split here in Charleston. This was caught on our West Virginia 511 traffic cam, brought to you by Stevens Auto Center. The accident caused heavy congestion throughout the area. No word yet on any injuries, but that road has since reopened. Meanwhile, in Huntington, a fire department truck was involved in a collision while responding to a call. It happened earlier this afternoon, just after 1 at the intersection of 8th Street and 11th Avenue. Luckily, no one was seriously injured.
Now take a look at this, a tractor-trailer rollover accident on I-77 northbound. It shut down both lanes for hours earlier this morning. West Virginia State Troopers telling our news crew on the scene that the driver miraculously made it out with only minor injuries, even after being trapped in his cab. And during that massive backup, another disaster was avoided. While on the scene, our crews overheard troopers yell out that a car was stuck in the standstill with a female heading to the Cleveland Clinic for a lung transplant. First responders and law enforcement escorted that vehicle through the traffic and blocked the roadway just to make sure that they made it through that backup. While the weather made traffic pretty difficult for many today, the worst may be over, at least for now.
Let's check in with meteorologist Joe Fitzwater with what caused that snow we saw today. Joe?
Yeah, no doubt. You know, we saw a trough that moved across the area overnight last night, and that brought us a bit of energy into the region here as we made your way overnight into this morning. So we'll take a look at some of this video. This is not too far away. This is right in Putnam County. So it wasn't just the rural areas that really saw the slick roadways this morning. Really, the main roadways saw some issues as well. And again, this was over in Putnam County a little earlier today. You head down to the south and the west, down towards Prestonsburg. Alan Bowling sending this nice photo you can see there at Jenny Wiley State Park there in Floyd County. Quite a bit of a very beautiful scene, if you will. And really, it was a wet snow, so you look outside and it kind of looks like one of those movie scenes where the snow sticks to the tree branches out in the distance. Thankfully, not really too much in the way of power issues. You head down to the south and east. Really, the hot spot was down in Greenbrier County. This is over in the Sam Black Church area. So this is right off the interstate there in Greenbrier County. You can see quite a mess on your hands here this morning. And the good news is most of this has really started to clear up here on the roadways, thankfully, as crews have been out working. Rupert, the big winner, 5 inches. That's over in Greenbrier County. But back here closer to home, we saw 3.5 inches over in the Oak Hill area, 3 inches in Painesville. I'm going to step out of the way so you can see some of these totals. You can see Huntington saw generally around 2 inches of snow. Charleston with around 1.5 inches. And again, if you look at this from a map perspective, really the hot spots just to the south of the Kanawha Valley here across portions of Lincoln, Boone, as well as down to the south and east here towards the Turnpike, where we generally saw a good 2 to 4 inches across the area. But we're not just talking about snow now. We're talking about even more wild weather as we head toward this weekend. With more on that, let's take a look at Chief Meteorologist Spencer Atkins, who's got the latest.
All right, Joe, we're getting ready for some heavy downpours, and that'll be about 24 hours from now. But in the meantime, again, let's get a quick look outside in the Ripley area where the roadway is just wet. And the good news is that I don't think it's really going to freeze up. A little damp, not terribly wet. Now, the Doppler shows that it's pretty quiet now. The system has moved away. We still have a lot of clouds and, boy, low visibility. Watch out for fog. A little hard to see from Charleston down through the southern coal fields of West Virginia and Kentucky. 35 in the capital city, 37 degrees in Huntington, 34 in Portsmouth with 32 in Summersville. And we'll hover right around those same marks. We're really not going anywhere with the melting snow. As I mentioned, showers, maybe even a thunderstorm coming your way in about 24 hours or less. We'll spell that out on Predictor for you in just a few minutes.
All right, Spencer, thanks so much. Well, time is running out on lawmakers for the regular legislative session, with the end coming tomorrow at midnight.
Now, even with a special session on the books for later this year, lawmakers are working to get done everything they can tonight.
13 News reporter Adrian Robbins is again at the Capitol for us tonight with the very latest as they're about to wrap things up tomorrow evening. Adrian, what are they working on tonight?
The House is currently in session right now, but the big ticket item was actually on the other side of the Capitol this afternoon. The Senate voting 19-14 to pass the amended version of House Bill 2020, the state budget. That budget including funding for the average 5% teacher pay raise, but it will have to go to that special session. Now, there's been a flurry of activity this afternoon, everything from They included everything from criminal justice reforms to repairing roads filled with potholes. Now, the state is in a much better position this year due to the large budget surplus. Now, even though they will finish the regular session tomorrow night, many are looking forward to that upcoming special session on education reforms.
Well, we've got a lot of bills left to go, a lot of work to do, probably not a lot of time for foolishness. It's just time to get to work. I mean, we've got the people's work at hand, and it's time to get with it.
I'm really looking forward to the special session that the governor's called to actually get some stakeholder input onto what real reform efforts we need in our public school system.
Lawmakers are right now debating a very contentious campaign finance bill. Now, several bills have already been sent to the governor. We're going to see how many he signs or how many he might reject with a veto. But back to that campaign finance bill. Currently, they are on amendments. There are 7 amendments to this bill, so they could be working on it for quite a while, and it's looking like it could possibly be a late night tonight at the state capitol for the House of Delegates. Now, we're going to keep you up to date with everything they are doing throughout tonight and also into tomorrow. But for now, live at the state capitol, I'm Adrian Robbins, 13 News, working for you.
Okay, Adrian, thank you so much. It was also an emotional day at the state capitol today as lawmakers debated a punishment for one of their own.
The controversy stems from an incident last week that many agree simply got out of hand. 13 News Chief Political Reporter Mark Curtis has more from the Capitol.
Of the refugees.
Friday's session began with an interfaith prayer featuring Christian, Jewish, and Muslim leaders. The controversy stemmed from an anti-Muslim poster displayed at Republican Party Day at the Capitol last Friday. Marion County Delegate Mike Caputo objected to that poster's message and angrily kicked in the main door to the House chamber, hurting a doorkeeper. But the effort to censure or remove Caputo from office failed.
First of all, I want to thank everyone in a bipartisan fashion who I believe has forgiven me for my actions, which I openly admitted and openly apologized to everyone, including the doorkeeper. So hopefully this thing is behind us.
Caputo was stripped of his committee assignments, but there wasn't much support for punishment beyond that.
Obviously, violence should never be accepted. I do believe that perhaps censure is in order, but expulsion, no. He did apologize.
I think there's a lot of work needs to be done here, and we should be focusing on that.
The group that brought last week's poster that sparked the outrage was back again Friday with another message.
I'm back today. It's International Women's Day, and I'm back here in support of free speech, because we cannot let them take our free speech away from us.
I don't think her right to free speech is being violated. She's welcome to come with any poster she wants.
Meanwhile, the legislature is trying to pass dozens of bills at the 11th hour. All of this sets the stage for the final day of the legislative session on Saturday. Remember, if it doesn't get done by midnight Saturday, it isn't going to get done. At the state capitol in Charleston, I'm Mark Curtis, 13 News, working for you.
Even though the 60-day regular session ends tomorrow at midnight, Governor Justice has called a special session on education reform issues, as we just heard from Adrian. However, no specific start date for that special session has yet to be set.
A major fundraiser is being hosted tomorrow for a South Charleston police officer who was diagnosed recently with a rare form of cancer. Officers say the public is welcome to come. Corporal Daniel Johnson is a 12-year veteran of the South Charleston Police Department. In January, he was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer in his abdomen, and tomorrow morning, a first responder charity dodgeball tournament is going to be hosted at the Oaks Field Gym in the city. Matches begin at 9 in the morning. The community is invited to attend and watch and donate. Police, fire, and EMS will be hitting the court to raise some funds for the Johnson family. 2 undercover police officers are intentionally ambushed, and what officers are doing to protect their own. Plus, a man is arrested after 2 apartments are broken into in Charleston.
13 News reporter Jessie Schaefer has been following today's top crime stories. She joins us more.
A purposeful ambush on 2 police officers in our region. Today's top crime begins on Charleston's East End. Court documents say 2 detectives with the Charleston Police Department's Special Enforcement Unit were working undercover yesterday when they came across these 2, Stephen Adams and Christopher Zakowski. Detectives said Zakowski tried to run after they had identified themselves as police. At that point, Adams jumped on one of the officers, put him in what they're calling a lethal chokehold. Detectives were able to get both in custody after a struggle.
Officer safety, getting home is main priority. Anyone who intentionally ambushes the police, they are capable of whatever, you know. We want everyone to know what they look like and what they're capable of.
Davis says an internal memo was sent out to each officer on the department to warn them about both Adams and Zakowski. Davis also said that Adams had shards of glass in his pocket, presumably to be used as weapons. For now, both are being held at South Central Regional Jail. Next to Kanawha City, where police executed a search warrant at the Econo Lodge yesterday, all as a result of the actions of this man, according to Charleston police, Joey Garcia. Police say Garcia was caught on camera breaking into a car there. Good news is all of the property that they say he stole was located and given back to the victim. And finally, back to the east end of the capital city. Police say this man, 35-year-old Joel Gibbs, broke into 2 apartments along the 1500 block of Lee Street East before police arrived on the scene. Court documents also stated that he kicked one of the doors off the hinges there. Gibbs has also been charged with a state warrant out of Wood County for larceny. And as always, for these stories and much more, head over to our website. That's WOWKTV.com. And keep in mind, you can always submit your own stories and reach me at Facebook and, of course, my email address. Back to you.
Jesse, thanks. After not 1 but 2 pharmacies closed on Charleston's west side, neighbors were in need of a place to fill their prescriptions. And today that prescription was filled as Fruit Pharmacy opened a new location inside the Piggly Wiggly off Bigley Avenue. Mayor Amy Goodwin was on hand to help cut the ribbon and welcome Fruit to the west side.
There was a need over here to serve the west side. We wanted to step in because we know Kmart had closed their pharmacy and also some of the Rite Aids, and we felt like it was just a great partnership between 2 West Virginia companies.
Fruit Pharmacy is a family-owned company. Currently, they own 31 stores located in West Virginia, Ohio, and Kentucky.
And high school and college students got a chance to explore work areas for Marshall School of Pharmacy's annual spring preview event. Students experienced the unique active learning curriculum firsthand, from lab demonstrations to facility tours. The pharmacy school is always seeking new students with an interest in the field of pharmacy and a passion in medicine.
This was an opportunity for the School of Pharmacy to showcase our PharmD program. We were able to have students from high school and some adult learners to be able to show them the opportunities that pharmacists can do and the important aspects that we at Marshall University can do to help them to be an excellent pharmacist.
For more information on enrollment, you can go to marshall.edu and search pharmacy. Vice President Mike Pence made a stop in Lexington, Kentucky today.
He was there to rally support for Kentucky Governor Matt Bevin. Garrett Weimer with our sister station, WKYT, has more.
The vice president spoke for about 25 minutes here in front of a crowd of about 150 to 200 people packed inside the hangar here at the Aviation Museum of Kentucky. Vice President Mike Pence touched on border security and the economy, familiar talking points for the administration, but he spent much of his time talking about Governor Matt Bevin. Pence came here for a Republican Party of Kentucky fundraiser to support Bevin's re-election with his new running mate, State Senator Ralph Alvarado. In his speech to donors, supporters, and state lawmakers, Pence praised Governor Bevin personally and policy-wise, specifically mentioning his economic efforts and cutting regulations, among others. He told the crowd he brought with him President Trump's total endorsement of Governor Bevin and his work.
I love being in the Lexington area. I mean, he's taking the reins off. And Kentucky's running again. Kentucky is growing again. That's why we need Matt Bevin back in the State House for 4 more years.
This is the third time the VP has visited Central Kentucky since taking office. He told folks here today that Kentucky is part of a success story that's spreading across the country. In Lexington, Garrett Weimer.
Vice President Pence also paid a visit to Columbus, Ohio today, where he headlined the annual meeting of the Ohio Oil and Gas Association. He said American energy is soaring, and while he told the group that the American economy is booming, he says to ensure continued growth, we need to protect the U.S. borders. The vice president also called on the Senate to stand with the president. The Ohio Oil and Gas Association is a trade association for companies that explore, produce, and develop crude oil and natural gas resources within the state.
Still to come right here on 13 News at 7, President Trump tours the destruction that was left behind from the deadly tornadoes over the weekend. Reaction from the president coming up.
Right now, we're taking a live look outside over Huntington. Spencer Atkins is back with your local Storm Tracker 13 forecast next.